Welcome, everybody, to the Clash of the Beards and Bellies. I am Scott Simpson, Nimble W Numbers on Twitter. I adjust my screen for a second there. And to my left, I believe, here on the screen, or you're right, I don't know, is Bo McBrayer, Bo_McBigTime on the tweeters. He's licking his wounds this week, folks. He has lost trace in a row. It's a big deal. He is going to come after me this week. I'm scared as shit. I'm not going to lie. Bo McBrayer, how you doing, sir?
Angry. I'm angry. I'm upset, but I can't be too upset at myself. I had a good lineup last week. It would have won most weeks. Unfortunately, the scoring was ultra high last week, and you had the nuts. And I had most of them, but I needed all of them to beat you because you almost dropped a 200 burger on me. And that was in a head-to-head, that's impressive.
It was 207, 207 or 210. So, I mean, you can't beat
kudos to you. Yeah, kudos to you. In a head-to-head, that's almost unbeatable.
Yeah, it was a lot of not luck, but just the cards aligned, as we can say.
It was spectacular because a lot of the lineups we both had were just we had a lot of
30,
agreements on
25.
the stacks.
Oh, yeah.
Like when both of us had the Eagles and the Dolphins stacked up everywhere we had lineups, and the Dolphins stack was great because you had Waddle and Hill, and you had Tua at a lower price. They were a little chalkier, but the real tournament winners were the Eagles because they were a lot less chalky. They were a leverage stack. I mean, if you had Hurts and AJ Brown, you were winning so much because nobody had them. They were both sub 10% ownership, and they both completely went nuts.
Yeah. It wasn't fair to you that I played AJ Brown against you, and then I also played Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, I mean
Tyreek Hill. Yeah, I mean, you I think also Tony Pollard. I Pollarded you, which oh man, I felt bad about that every time he scored. You're like
yeah, he was in all my great lineups that I had because I think I had 7 out of my 50 lineups were over 200 points, which is a really, really good week. Awesome. And Pollard, I think, was in 5 of those. So yes, I had my great deal. My favorite player. I was wearing the jersey all day. The Cowboys won big. It was a great day. And then I look at the head-to-head with you, and 36 points against me. It hurt a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, you come for revenge this week, and interestingly enough, we are chock full of Jacksonville Jaguars. I didn't think that was going to be the case, but we digress.
Ew, yeah, it's it's just funny how things work out where we're not necessarily pushing the Jaguars, but we are pushing against the Raiders defense.
Yes, exactly. Oh man, they're done. Put a fork in Josh McDaniels. He is just he's ready to go back to Bill Belichick again.
Well, yeah, because he's now been propped up by Peyton Manning, and he's been propped up by Bill Belichick. And when he sets off on his own, it doesn't always end very well because he's not a very good coach.
Right.
When he's a standalone coach, like he's not a head coach. You don't look at him and go, "Oh yeah, that's the leader of men that's going to take his team to the promised land."
Mike Tomlin type. He is not.
Oh no, yeah, the anti Mike Tomlin.
Right, exactly. The opposite of that. And yeah, not good. I mean, technically not good, but yeah, I mean, not good.
This lineup, my lineup is. I do have 3 Jaguars, but they're the 3 Jaguars I expect to put up good value for their salaries this week. So I'm not over the moon about it, but it affords me some great spend up options that I put on the board here against you. That's what I feel is my strength against you. I did have a very similar lineup lined up against you before I changed it yesterday, and we don't look at each other's lineups. So I think we had an hour before the show before we even knew who each other had. And I had Aaron Jones, and I had Gerald Everett, and I had Robert Tonyan in my lineup beforehand. And it was going to be a whole lot of mix and match. Like we would have had like 4 or 5 matches, and now we only have 1, and it's Travis Etienne.
I like it because we never do look at each other's stacks. We want to be original. But last year we were like double, triple stacking five of the same players. And I think we did it once this year. And it makes it not as enjoyable as a content producer, and then also as somebody who's in the game rooting for the 3 players that I have against your 3 players. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
it's not as entertaining to watch on Sunday because that out of all the things I'm looking at on Sundays when I'm watching Red Zone is I'm watching this particular matchup. I couldn't care less until the end what happens with my tournament entries because you never even know
it's up and
until
down.
the
You could
end.
be up 1,000 or down nothing,
exactly.
and then you win.
Because every play that happens, it swings it so drastically. But in the head-to-head, you can kind of see it moving like into different areas where we can tell if it's going to be really close. You can tell if one guy gets off to a great start in the early window. You're like, oh man, those late window players better bring it.
Right. It's really fun to play against you, by the way. I got to say, besting you 3 times in a row has not gone to my head. If anything, it just makes me go even harder. And so let me tell you that my story this week is a GPP lineup. I'm a GPP bro. That's what I am. I'm not gonna lie. You're a cash bro. You're Davis Maddock. I'm over there with Pete Overzet, right? That's the fields we were raised in. Now we cross pollinate because we're multidimensional fantasy football content creators who can do dynasty, who can do redraft, who can do DFS, who can do showdown, anything. We got it. We know it. We're doing. But I will say that I had to go full GPP against you because I was scared to death of what you were going to do. So I did not go traditional cash lineup except for maybe ETN. And then I think Aaron Jones is a good cash play as well. So if we're talking cash. Yeah, those are 2 really solid cash plays. But I mean, Hopkins, he is a GPP play. Justin Jefferson, GPP darling. Talk about your receivers. I've got some good receivers, right? We both have ETN, so that's kind of a wash there. But well, actually, let's pause. Let's go to Austin Eckler versus Aaron Jones because I think they are
fantastic.
The 1 and the 2 this week. Yep. I think they are going to be PPR darlings. Both their quarterbacks suck. Right now, not suck. Justin Herbert doesn't suck, but their weapons are sucking. They don't have
them. Yeah. So Aaron Rodgers doesn't have good receivers, and all the good receivers for the Chargers are injured. So we're dealing with a similar kind of thing where they have great running backs with good hands who can run routes like Aaron Jones and Austin Eckler. They've both been scoring crazy amounts of fantasy points. Austin Eckler is the RB1 right now. So what I'm looking to do is get one of those big 25, 30-point performances from him again against a pretty terrible Atlanta defense. I mean, if the Panthers can rush for 200 yards against you, imagine what Austin Eckler can do.
Right.
This is a guy that is putting up a ton of fantasy points in PPR because he's getting 10 catches a game the last couple, and I would take that in a heartbeat. So give me 70 yards rushing, 70 yards receiving on 8 catches, score a touchdown or 2, and I'm in the money here. It's just for Jones, it's kind of the same thing. I'm kind of afraid of Jones's upside because Detroit's defense is absolutely terrible.
Well, he scored 4 touchdowns against them the last time he started, and 3 were in the air.
3 of them were receiving.
And Detroit has given up already several receiving touchdowns this year. They're not good against running backs. They're in the bottom 3 or 4 defenses against fantasy points against. I love Austin Eckler this week. I could see him hanging a 35 spot. I think Aaron Jones is going to score around 26 points. Let me just tell you, that's my projection for him. It's way above a normal projection, 16, 17 points, but I think he is in the 26 point range, but I think Austin Eckler does outscore him. So I'm glad I'm close because you did pay up a little bit. So I'm value wise, I think we're pretty even there, depending on a touchdown, give or take, could go either way. But wide receivers, this is where it's very intriguing, right? Because I did pay up a little bit. You had to pay down because you paid up at running back. I love your Christian Kirk stack. Let's start right there. It's Mike Collins, his stack of the week, the diamond stack of the week. No, I think gold stack of the week, I believe. So
that's the silver stack because it's
silver.
Cheaper.
Is it that cheap? Oh my gosh, you're right. It's under 510. Or 10.5. No, it's 10.7, right? 10.7. That's crazy. 10.7. That's an awesome build to start with, by the way.
Yeah, for me, it was about I could spend up a quarterback. Like I kind of wanted to do Kyler Murray there and stack him with Hopkins. That's why I had Hopkins in the first lineup that I built for this. But it didn't end up. I wanted to be able to get Eckler, and I wanted to get somebody close to Jefferson along with him, and then just spend bare bones everywhere else. But for this, it just came down to I wanted to build the cash stack, Kirk and Lawrence against the Raiders. They're awful. They can't cover anybody, especially in the slot. Their slot corner's awful. And Christian Kirk, has done really well against bad slot corners, and he's done almost nothing against good slot corners. So here you go against the Raiders, who have a bad slot corner, and I think Christian Kirk's going to have a really solid game. Josh Palmer, 5,100. He's the only healthy receiver the Chargers have, and the Atlanta Falcons are dead last at defending the wide receiver position because their secondary is all banged up. So I'm just taking low-hanging fruit here at wide receiver. Points per dollar value, Kirk and Palmer for me in the low to mid fives are going to score me 15 points and 3-4x my salary. That's what you're looking for in a head-to-head, especially at the bottom, because I'm not expecting a ceiling game from either one of those guys, but I am from Jefferson, like Justin Jefferson. It's Justin Jefferson, guys.
Yeah,
I wanted that guy in my lineup because Washington can't cover Justin Jefferson. There's no way.
No. All of their DBs are like 6'1" and under. So,
it's not even the height; it's the intelligence to not break down and blow coverage.
I mean, that withstanding, I'm just thinking of the jump balls, anytime a ball's in the air, he's got it. It's his. No one's going to take it from him. It's just Washington is not a good coverage team. They were talking about Jackson today and how they scouted him beforehand, right? Ron Rivera scouted him, and he said he could play cornerback in zone. And even though he was primarily man, he can't play zone. I don't understand. He was 27 seconds. He can't play zone.
Pretty important in a league that's run 70% zone 70%, coverage.
70%, right? Jordan Vanek has helped us understand how you target man defenses. What are you doing, Jackson? Sorry, Miss Jackson. So Ron Rivera, by the way, not a good talent evaluator. Let's just put that.
He's starting Brian Robinson over Antonio Gibson.
When I die, and someone listens to this podcast, in 50 years, and Ron Rivera's been dead for a long time too. I want them to be like, God damn right, he wasn't a good talent evaluator, right? Because you got Cam Newton one time. That's about it, right? I mean, maybe Christian.
That was the number one pick. It was an obvious number one pick too.
Right. I mean. Yeah, he's getting paid when he was in high school. I mean, come on, man.
The dude was Adonis.
Right.
He single-handedly won the national championship.
Dude, he never got a roughing the passer call against him. I'm going to go back and unearth 70 hits against Cam Newton that were never called. Tom Brady falls over, that he gets 3 flags thrown his way. It is bull to the shit. So, all right. Let me talk about my receivers real quick. I like Josh Palmer, by the way. I have a little piece of that offense in Gerald Everett, and so we all want a little bit of that bite in that apple because Atlanta, this is going to be a game that's going to shoot, we believe. Tyler Lockett at 6,100, Terry McLaurin at 59, and then D-Hop. I've invested a lot of money in my wide receivers, right? I put some money in the wide receiver position for sure because Tunyon and Everett are great values. Terrible defenses they're facing. Pay down, you're probably going to get 8 targets between, for both of them. And this is an upside for both of them, just given the role they need to play in the offense. I like them both. But, and then by the way, Commanders are just a shit play. Same with the, Panthers. Actually, Panthers not a shit play because they don't have, they have no Jamar Chase, and no Jamar Chase means that offense is not very good.
So, and the Panthers pass rush is legit.
Yeah, he'll get sacked. He could turn the ball over too. But I might have to pivot to that.
I love the Panthers defense this week.
Yeah, it was a good play. What do you think about Terry McLaurin now that Heineke is the quarterback?
Smash in this matchup because here's the thing about Minnesota. Their corners are Dantzler, gross, awful,
terrible,
and Pat Pete, who's an absolute legend, Hall of Famer. Yeah. But he's a great zone corner at this point of his career. But if they put him on an island against Terry McLaurin, who runs a 4-3, Pat Pete can't keep up with those speedy wide receivers, and Terry McLaurin's going to get vertical on him. That's the one. I'm not even worried about Hopkins. I think Hopkins kind of has more of a middle range game instead of 25, 30 points.
22.
I think 15 to 20, 15, 20, maybe even less because Seattle is going to keep everything in front of them, and they're going to really focus on Hopkins because the first 2 teams that played the Cardinals, they didn't account for Hopkins moving into the slot because they were so stunned that Cliff Kingsbury finally moved him off the wide left position. Yeah. So Hopkins being in the slot isn't going to surprise the Seahawks, and I think they're going to focus hard on covering him because the rest of the receivers on the Cardinals suck. They're horrible.
I agree, but let me just tell you this: DeAndre Hopkins shows he can be covered, and he can snag that motherfucking rock anytime he
Well,
wants.
there's no such thing as covering Hopkins
Right,
because his
right.
catch radius is insanity.
And
He
his
has gigantic hands.
hand-eye
He can,
coordination like a mo. Oh,
yeah. You throw it anywhere near him, and he's going to catch it.
getting a fantasy football boner right now thinking about him. Right,
But
this
yeah,
match.
the Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins stack is a good one. But the McLaurin standalone, that one scares me because at his price there against the corner tandem that can't run with speedy wide receivers to save their life. Like Dantzler is like a 4.7 corner. He's that slow. And Pat Pete's probably a 4.5 guy still, even though he used to be a 4.3 guy. He can't keep up with McLaurin anymore.
No, and you know what? The YOLO balls. I heard that on a little stat today. Listen to the Sports Junkies here. Shout out in the DC market that Taylor Heineke has 10% turnover balls. That's not good. That's terrible. It's like triple the rate you should have as a quarterback. Meaning your balls are opportunistically.
Prayers. Just prayers.
YOLO balls means you only live once, and that ball could come down in the hands anyway. But here's the good thing, right? This is the shining star. You talk about Terry McLaurin, right? He wanted to improve his contested catch rate. He put actually specific focus of his study as a wide receiver into the art of being better at it. And you saw him straight moss Stephon Gilmore, not some YOLO guy who isn't good. Stephon Gilmore. I mean, he's a Super Bowl champion, man. This guy is a beast. And he went up against him and he said, mine. Winner, this game is mine right now. It's a 50-yard pass. That was crazy. So I do like him in this matchup because he's a dog and he finally got out of his cage. No offense, Carson Wentz. 3 pats and you're tackled. And now you're done. Heineke will at least scramble around a little bit, move the ball, and flick it out and be a weirdo, you know? So, yeah, I'm excited. All right, let's get to tight ends real quick because we double stacked. You've got Ertz. I've got Everett. Advantage, I think, in this matchup, Ertz. The only issue is, right, since D-Hop has come back, he only has 9 targets. D-Hop has 26 targets or something like that, right? So, right. But the do theory, just the law of averages, coming back in this matchup. The last time they played them, he had 10 targets, right? So I think put them together, he gets 8 targets, right? 6 for 8 for 60 yards and a touchdown. That's all you need right there, right? That's
and I'm playing it because like this is for me, it's a dueling banjos tight end stack where we have 2 of the 2 worst defenses against tight ends in the NFL
in the same game.
So I'm saying, okay, I can take Fant or Disley. I chose Disley because he fit into my salary constraints.
Right.
And Fant hasn't done anything in the last 2 games. But Ertz against the worst tight end guarding team. This is like Kyler Murray is not stupid. Like he might not study, but he doesn't really need to against a defense where Hopkins is going to be more tightly covered, which doesn't mean much. But when you have Zach Ertz running wide open all game, he's going to get looks.
Listen, when Kyler Murray scrambles and then he looks to the middle of the field, that's where Ertz is going to be. He's going to be there all day.
Ertz is a humongous target.
He is a man beast. Yeah, no, I love this play. He's actually my pay up tight end this week in GPP. I changed the graphic, but I didn't even change. I mean, he's
the most expensive tight end on this slate. Can you believe that?
Nah, I can't because but whatever. Here's what I like. If you look at the pricing, right? Or not the pricing, the offensive defensive matchup rank, you've got 32, 31. I've got 29, 27. It's like we're playing a game of like aces, and you've got ace king in your hand. I've got queen jack. We're waiting for the flop. So we're loaded up at tight end, and we've both paid around. You have an 8,001 on yours, and I'm at 8.6. So we're around that same price point, a little bit more expensive for me, but
it's almost like we've done this before.
You know what? I love it. I appreciate you. You are making me a way better fantasy football player, my friend. I just want to share that with you. I beat this guy 3 weeks in a row because he's so good. I have to do my homework. Also, some injuries happened in between one of those games. We should be a little bit more even than that. But with that being said, what is your prognosis for this? What is the line for this? I've got my line, but I want to hear what you think.
So I calculated your lineup to score 148, and I calculated mine to score 146. So that's how close this is.
I have you at 154. I have you at a 6-point advantage over me. So
So you had the same guess for yours though?
No, I just had whatever you were. I had like 7 points for you when I saw your lineup. I didn't know what your total was going to be. I thought it was going to be like 150 maybe. I'd say you're 157. I'm 150. 156 and a half maybe. That's how I feel because of Jefferson and then the Kirk stack. Like if you get 2 touchdowns from Kirk and Lawrence, it's over. Like that, I don't have that. I have naked Fields. So naked Fields has got to do a lot for me. But by the way, if you look at Fields, if you're trying to pay down a quarterback, Geno Smith 5,800, you might be enticed. Dude, the last 3 weeks, this guy is QB3, right?
Yep.
So yeah, just yeah.
Last 4 weeks, he's QB4.
He's been rushing the football a lot. He's a rusher. He leads the league in rushing since week 4. So
he's got a new toy to throw too.
Yeah, he's got Is he on the slate though? I couldn't find him. They updated the roster and
they just added him today.
Thank God, I was just
Chase Claypool is 4,800.
Oh. All right, I'm going to change my lineup. I'm putting Chase Claypool in. Sorry, bro. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do it. But that is a great play. This is my first lineup I built this week. I will take out Tunyon, put him wherever it is, and then take Everett out. And then my flex, I will put in Claypool into this lineup, and then I will feel good about it. Not in our matchup. I feel a little better too when I get away from the Commanders and go to the Panthers. So I like that upgrade.
Yeah.
Where can people find you in your work, Mr. Bo McBrayer?
At Bo_McBigTime. Hit it up.
All his shit's there, man. And he's writing for Fantasy Pros. You found a co-host for Chalk Block yet?
No, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do the show because we might be in the mountains.
You know what? How about this? Chalk Block is taking a mental health break for the family. How about that, right?
Yeah.
My family is going to Disney. You might go to the mountains. How about this? Try to win some money without us for a week. And then you can say next week, you're better off without us, or damn it, I need those guys, right? So
you should still sub to Run the Sims, and you can come up with the same plays that we did.
Yeah, and you know what we're going to do? We are going to run it back for the Sports Gambling Podcast Network and actually run the whole slate. So that can be kind of like a mini chalk block this week, since we'll do it once. Yeah, and we'll give you some chalk to block. So, all right, thank you, everybody. We will see you next time here for the Clash. Scott, we'll call him Trace Wins Simpson. We'll see you next time.